This is the 5th video in the 3rd module of the Tribal Air Monitoring Support Center's online Emissions Inventories-Fundamentals workshop. In this video, Angelique is going to demonstrate creating a TEISS report for residential wood stove heating, which is an example of a non-point source. So she's demonstrating reports for non-point sources, and she's also going to give you an introduction to SEC codes.
We're going to take a look at the non-point sources reports that are available, and you'll see that those reports are shown in the non-point sources folder. There's less of those reports than there are for the point sources. What I would like to do is look at residential heating emissions for my area of concern. So I want a report that's going to compare emissions for the various residential heating sources. So since I'm going to be looking at multiple sources, a graph would be beneficial. So the report I would like to use is the by SCC report, and you'll see that it has a little report icon next to it, a chart icon next to it. So we can click on that report, and the first filter screen comes up, and this is the same filter screen that we saw for the point reports, and there is no difference here. You just want to specify Coconino County. So we're going to click unselect all like we did previously, and we're going to click Coconino County and click on the next button. This screen is going to look different than you remember because we're going to specify the SEC level, and we did not have that screen in the point report. So the SEC level to report here says SCC2, and what that means is that an SEC code for non-point sources has 10 digits, and it's only showing the first 2 digits here. So that is the most general categorization you can get. So it shows stationary fuel combustion, and it combines a bunch of sources under that stationary source fuel combustion. So it combines the residential, it combines the industrial, and the commercial all into one. So we want a little bit more detail for that. So we're going to click the down arrow button, and you'll see the different levels. So SEC 10 is the most specific because there are 10 digits in the non-point SEC codes. The one I want to select, SEC 4 first, just to take a look at what that gives us. So you'll see now that we have much more options available. What I want to do here is scroll up to find stationary source fuel combustion sources. And you can also make these selections bigger by double clicking here, and that shows the entire categorization. And you can sort too. If you click here, this sorts, so just one single click and it sorts in alphabetical order. So I'm going to scroll until I find stationary source fuel combustion, and then you'll see that there's now broken out, instead of just stationary source fuel combustion, it's broken out into industrial, commercial, institutional, and residential. But you'll notice that it's not further divided by fuel type. So I want to see the fuel type, so I'm going to click on SEC level 7 and see what that gives me. So I am going to expand this so I can see it, and I'm going to look for stationary source fuel combustion. There it is up on top. And this shows the different residential heating fuel types, and that's what I want for my report. Because I want to compare, for example, what emissions are coming from natural gas and what emissions are coming from wood for the different residential heating sources in Coconino County. So I'm going to click the unselect all button, and then I have to scroll up again once I do that. And now I'm only going to include the residential in this SEC4 because I don't want to look at commercial and institutional or industrial in this report. So I'm going to select those by clicking the little box next to them. And then I'm going to click on the next button because those are the sources I want. And you've seen this screen before, and this just tells it's the annual reporting period and it lets you specify what your emissions you want reported in units. And I'm going to keep tons and click on the next button. And this screen is familiar again. This is where you specify what pollutants you want. And for this report in particular, I just want my criteria pollutants. And those are shown in black font, and the other pollutants are shown in blue font. So I'm going to select uncheck all, and then I'm just going to pick my criteria pollutants by clicking on that box. Then I'll click on the next button, and you'll see many more options here when you have a chart involved in your reports, and you can specify the different kinds of charts you want. And for this report, I'd like to see a vertical bar chart, so I'm going to click on that and then click on the finish button to show my report. So this is the first page of the report that comes up, and if you look at the top of the screen, you'll see that there's a total of 20 pages in this report. And the way this report works is that the first page shows the emissions in table format, and if you click on the next page, it shows the emissions in chart format for that particular pollutant. So for each pollutant, there's 2 pages of the report. So you'll see for this source, residential wood combustion, that emits the most CO of all of the stationary sources for that pollutant. So that if I click on the next button, next page button, I can see ammonia, and then I can see the graph for ammonia. And again, you've got residential wood as a big source, and also natural gas as a big source. So if you click through the pages of the report, you'll see that residential wood heating and natural gas heating are the top 2 emitters of criteria pollutants of all the residential heating sources. And if I was going to develop an emissions inventory for my area, and I did not have time to inventory every single residential heating source, I would make sure to include at least these 2 residential heating sources in my EI, because these are big emitters in the county, so that means that the tribe on the reservation land could also have large sources of these. Now I'm going to close the TEISS reporting screen by clicking on the X button here. And then I'm going to go ahead and close out TEISS and by clicking on this X button here. And when you do that, you'll get this message box that pops up that says, do you want to close TEISS view? You can click on the yes button on that, and that closes TEISS.